Good day, everyone. So, today we're going to look into the importance of research in child and adolescent development. So, as future educators, it's important now that we understand how children and adolescents grow, learn, and behave because research, of course, will provide us with scientific evidence now, guiding us to make better decisions now, and also to um, explore no, the different research methods used in child and adolescent studies, no, the techniques for gathering data, and of course the ethical consideration no, that we must always follow. So, um, research, of course, it is important because it gives us valuable insights into growth and behavior. So it allows us to study how children think, feel, and interact. So these processes, of course, it will change over time. So without research, teaching and parenting would only rely on assumptions or traditions. So, for example, through research, we can understand why some children struggle with reading while others excel. So, with this knowledge, teachers can design interventions, such as remedial reading programs to support struggling learners. So, policymakers also can make research findings to create a more child friendly educational policy. So, therefore, no, as educators, we must remember that quality and integrity in research means being accurate, being objective and ethical so that the information we rely on is trustworthy and beneficial to learners. If you recall now, when you were in senior high school, you had that research subject. So research is no longer new. It's not new to you now. So that's why it's important for us teachers to be acquainted, no, to be equipped with research as it is giving us, not providing us with a more valuable, reliable, of course, and valid data. So, why research is important? Um, of course, it's important because it guides us now with how we can help our learners no, especially as they develop. It also guide no, of course, the authority figures such as parents, teachers no, and the policymakers come up with a more evidence-based interventions no, and programs. And of course, in research we make sure that we adhere to the ethical no, standards no, in conducting studies, especially if it involved no, humans. So, therefore, no, we are to tackle different research methods for us to be acquainted, no, how we are able to conduct different studies, no, especially concerning child and adolescent. So we have here first case study method. So this method focuses no an in-depth study of an individual. So it may include gathering information from family background, health records, of course, academic history, and interviews. So the strength of this method, of course, it provides you a more detailed picture of the person no, being studied. So example here, a researcher may follow no one gifted child's learning journey. So by studying the child's experiences, the strengths, the struggles, no, educators can gain valuable insight no how to nurture a gifted learner. So however, the limitation no, is that findings no, from one child cannot be generalized to all children. So it's not a guarantee that a finding, no, a research finding to the subject, no, or to the respondent itself is applicable to all. So it's still no, um, it should be contextualized. And we have here naturalistic observation. So in here, researchers know watch children in their real environment, so such as home, schools, or playgrounds without manipulating any conditions. So they are just mere observers. So this will allow no authentic or natural behavior to unfold or to be manifested. So example here, a teacher researcher may observe toddlers no in daycare to see how they share toys. So this method captures natural interactions but has the limitation of not being able to control the outside factors such as mood or environment that may influence behavior. Then we have no the clinical method. So this method no treats participants as unique individuals, no using open-ended questions, no allowing them to respond freely. So this method is particularly useful in understanding children's thinking processes. Example here, a researcher may ask a child how they solved a puzzle, so the child's explanation reveals now their thought processes in problem solving strategies. So the limitation here, however, no, is that responses can vary greatly, making it hard to compare across children. Then we have here correlational method, no? It studies the relationship. It's not, when we say correlation, it's not a cause and effect, but it's just looking into relationship between two or more variables, so it can show whether the relationship is positive or negative but cannot prove cause and effect. So when we say positively correlated, two of the variables, if one increases, the other variable increases as well. But if it is a negative correlation, that's the opposite. If one variable increases, the other variable decreases. Example, no? Number of study hours. That's the number of study hours spent. That's one variable. Then another variable is that test score. So independent variable here is the number of hours spent studying, no, because it is something that you have in control of, that you can manipulate. The dependent variable here is the test score, because the test score is the result. Okay, so in here when we say negative correlation, it's the opposite. The more number, no, the more number of hours spent in studying, no, the lesser the score is if it is a negatively correlated or negative correlation. But if it is a positive correlation, no, the more number of hours spent in studying, the higher the score. So two, both of the variables, no, if one increases, the other increases as well. Then we have here the longitudinal method. No, it studies the same individuals over a long period of time. So this is useful to tracking development, na seeing how traits or behaviors change. However, it is costly, because it is time consuming, and prone to challenges like participants dropping out. No, the participants may tend not to continue as part of the study. So example here, researchers may follow migrant children schooling over 10 years. So this um, this would help reveal no long-term patterns in academic adjustment, but the study requires patience, resources, and consistent follow-ups because again of the element of time. No, there might be a lot of changes that may happen in between. No, so therefore we cannot guarantee 100% participation, no, of the respondents from the start until, no, the research concludes. So we have here another cross-sectional method. So in this method, researchers compare children of different age groups, no, at the same point in time. So it is faster, more convenient than longitudinal studies, but cannot show individual developmental changes. No, example, a study may compare the language skills of 6 years old, 9 years old, and 12 years old. So this can show how language skills differ across ages, but it does not, no, track how each child personally changes as they grow. Then we have here experimental method. It involves manipulating variables, not to test cause and effect relationships. So most of the, of course, no, the laboratory experiments, no, in science courses or subject, no, most of the time it involves experimental method. It is reliable, more scientific research because it allows researchers, no, to control conditions. However, it is limited to observable behaviors, no, and participants may change behavior because they know they are being observed. That's, no, the application of the Hawthorne effect. Example here, a teacher may test if using a reward system such as giving stars for participation increases classroom involvement. So if participation rises, the experiment suggests that rewards can be an effective motivator. Then we have here action research. So it is practically, and usually done by teachers within their classrooms. So it focuses on solving real world problems and improving practice. So the results may not be generalizable, no, but are useful for immediate context. Example here, a group of teachers may collaborate, no, to improve the study habits of grade 8 students. So they may try new strategies such as study schedules or peer mentoring, no, then assess whether, no, what strategy works best. So that's action research. For data gathering techniques, there are many ways to collect data. So first we have here interview and questionnaire. No, it allows the researcher to have that quick collection and comparison of data. When we say life history records, that's tracking of chronological life events such as health condition or education. So it looks into the history na, on the context of the person. So we have your observation, can be natural in real life setting or structured learning laboratories. Standardized tests giving consistent measures, no, of performance. Self-report is involving, no, children's own accounts experiences. No, self-reports is we will be asking, no, them, for example, no, um, they are to report how they feel, what they think about, or it's more of a checklist that they have to answer, no, that's the self report, na, the answer is coming from them. So we have here physiological measures such as heart rate, hormone levels, or brain activity, providing biological evidence of development. So for example here, if we want to study stress in adolescents, we can combine self-reports now with physiological measures like heart rate monitoring to get a complete picture of the context of, no, the variable that we are looking into. Then, of course, it's very important that we have to consider ethics in lifespan research. So, it guides us researchers, no, to make sure that we protect, no, our participants, research participants, with, no, the possible, no, inflicting of harm. So we make sure that we obtain informed consent, especially if, no, it involved minors, so we need the parents consent. And of course, no, privacy confidentiality should be observed. The sharing of knowledge, no, of results, no, should be provided access only, no, if it is being consented. So therefore, we need to make sure that it's not accessible to everyone. No, that's not part of um, the purpose of the study, and we make sure again to make sure that we only share relevant information. Of course, no, as I have emphasized there, we need to secure informed consent. So example, if children are part of a study on new learning programs, parents must give consent, no, and children and students, no, minor students, especially minor students, must of course, no, that we must ask their assent. No, we should not be exposing them to harmful practices. So therefore, um, They should benefit now from the findings, such as improving teaching methods, rather than the purpose of no the study is to cause them further harm. So if you notice now the little Albert experiment, like the study of um, classical conditioning, it's unethical because now of course it was conducted many years ago. Ethics was not more established at that time. The subject of the experiment na is a little child named Albert, just because the researcher wants to study that a certain fear of object is learned or acquired, it is not natural to us, no, the researcher placed little Albert, no, a little kid, young Albert, in a box, and there is that a loud noise, no, um, that is being um, exposed to by little Albert, then the researcher will look into the reaction of the child. So therefore, in that context, no, the study is unethical because um, no, the study itself, no, the manner of conducting the study is something that is inflicting harm to the research subject, no, um, which little Albert, and it is somehow causing the child not to acquire trauma or phobia being exposed to the loud noise. Okay, so we make sure that when we conduct research, it is something beneficial rather than being harmful. So as teachers, no, we are to consider these different research methods for us to make sure that we gather relevant data, timely data, no? And of course, the very reason or purpose in conducting a study is mainly to improve lives rather than to no inflict harm. So we must value no research and understand its methods, and of course practice it ethically.